Good morning, everyone. I'm Luka Kurdgelia. I'm an advisor to the Rector at SANGU. I'm really excited to lead this session and moderate, and I'm also a little bit nervous, so please forgive me beforehand. Actually, I was walking through your chairs, and I already saw some people using different kind of AI models, and our session is actually on AI and cybersecurity. So the thing is, probably we could not have better speakers regarding AI and cybersecurity that we have now. So please welcome our distinguished speakers. Professor Kevin G. Kirby, who is the Dean of College of Informatics at NKU. He's a global respected scientific leader in this direction. He has a vast experience working in AI in different kind of organizations and institutions doing different kind of research. Actually, I already had a chance to talk to him yesterday, and he has a lot to share with us, and thank you for being here. And also we have Mr. Luka Baklaga, who is a rising star in Georgian tech community. He's an AI research lead at PTU, Business and Technology University. And interestingly, he is also a student of NKU SANGU joint double degree cybersecurity program. So welcome to Luka as well. And let's give a round of applause to everyone. And last but not least, we have Professor Sofio Katamadze, who is from my point of view, one of the brightest minds in Georgian tech community. She works as a senior software engineer at EPAM, Georgia, but today she will share her research regarding the emotion detection from AI. So it will be very interesting to share. So I guess I should start with a brief summary of our session. The thing is, AI is changing, and somehow already changed how we live, how to work. It changed for me, at least, because I'm not an AI guy. Like, I'm not a tech guy. I come from business, so I like straightforward approach, and it did change a lot for me. So this session is specifically interesting for me. So I will ask Professor Kevin to start, like a brief introduction, summary from your experience, background, and regarding the AI, what you did, and please, floor is yours.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. It's very important that I'm sitting next to a rising star and the brightest mind in the Georgian tech community. It's very important because here I am at a session on AI and cybersecurity, and disclaimer, I am not a cybersecurity researcher or faculty member. Actually, my roots are in AI. So I should tell you a little bit about my background. It's a little bit relevant to what we might talk later. When I was a young PhD, one of the first things I did was give workshops at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Now, some of you students out there have actually visited the U.S. Air Force Museum. Some of you remember that? So right next to it is the Air Force Base, which actually has a large research institution. And as a young PhD, they actually brought me in to give them workshops on neural network AI back in the day, many years ago. So it's been close to my heart. That's what I did when I came to Northern Kentucky University, biocomputing and physical computing and neural networks. But now it's a little more complicated than that. I am, as you can see from my title, a dean, which means I am an administrator, and often deans do not teach much in the United States, though I have been fortunate to continue active teaching in neural networks and AI and so on, because it is absolutely fascinating. And I guess I would want to make two overarching remarks, one specifically on AI and one maybe AI bleeding into cybersecurity, which I'm sure my fellows can pick up on here. First, if we were having this conference 5 years ago, it still might be reasonable to have a session on AI and cybersecurity. As we all know, the narrative would be very different. But it would have been different in a fundamentally different way, not a matter of scale. So sometimes when you look at metrics like the amount of money invested on AI research and so on, you say, oh my, what's shocking over the past 3 years is this exponential acceleration in investment, as if it were merely a matter of scale. Like, whoosh, look at that scale, technology has taken off. But it is not a simple matter of scale. There's sort of a fundamental change in the way AI works, in the way generative AI works, and the way machine learning has matured. It's our reliance on vast, complex networks of simple elements, learning by association, digesting massive amounts of our data that have created systems that are literally out of our control. And since the word command and control, we used to see that a lot at the Air Force workshops, command and control, we're in a very, very strange spot now. So a few years ago, if you imagined using an AI system and you found it is hallucinating, it's giving you the wrong information. So, okay, that's a bug. Let's go find it. So you might be going through source code, you might be going through sets of rules, logical inferences, asking for dumps of reasoning to find, okay, that was the problem. Let's fix it. Right here, sort of a localized effect. You cannot do that now. The nature of foundation models and the way they are trained simply does not allow that. So that creates sort of an extra layer of challenge with the idea of neural networks that very, very roughly learn like humans by making vast sets of associations of experiences. Models that are trained on reading the internet, observing the world, and making associations are simply out of our control. So it's a powerful tool, but it's somewhat an elusive technology to us. And I think the way these things are trained at the bottom, even though we can have specialized AI technology, they start with these foundation models. Yes, there are other layers. We can do certain kinds of reinforcement learning with human feedback, fine-tuning, layer other things on. Many layers that we can talk about that my experts here are no doubt familiar with. We can do it. But there's sort of a fundamental extra layer of uncertainty here, which, of course, when applied to cybersecurity, either an attack or defense, makes everyone's lives more complicated. So very quickly, bringing in cybersecurity, of course, it would touch both defense and offense aspects. I mean, defense, as you very easily can imagine, probably familiar to the students in the room, I mean, with AI tools for pattern detection, right? The ability for a long time through machine learning to detect very subtle, nuanced patterns that humans through simple observations could not observe. It's applicable to penetration testing. It's applicable to scanning software code for vulnerabilities. It's applicable for detecting long, complicated scenarios that in fact may be elements of attack, but might not seem so at first. So the pattern recognition competencies of AI are good there. Generative AI generates scenarios, sort of war game scenarios or whatever that AIs and humans can practice on together. Needless to say, the offense side, I mean, oh my, we all know about deep fakes. The idea of what's authentic becomes more and more and more complicated, whether it's on the simple end user idea, a person subject to a very convincing phishing email, or something more deep. Automated malware generation, AI writes code, and it can generate bad malicious code intentionally or even accidentally, and that requires our eyes open even more. And well, you can continue with these scenarios. There's a third layer that's not so much cybersecurity, attack, and defense, but the AI-specific attack surface that's created in a world of AI. The classic example of this is, you may have heard the word data poisoning, right? If your AI is trained on vast amounts of data, which is very interesting, right? It's all of what humans have produced, right? So it's the great stuff. It's the high-quality journalism, knowledge, history, research, but it is also the nasty stuff, the bad stuff, the false stuff. But to some extent, during training, at many layers in which you're feeding data into the system, that data can be messed with in ways that are very hard to detect at the beginning, middle, and end. So that is literally another attack surface and another thing to worry about beyond mere defense and offense. So, I mean, I'll stop talking now, but I'm sure we'll have an alternative for me to not, for all of us to end not pessimistically. So with that, we'll move on.
Thanks, Professor. There will be follow-up questions as well. So,
first of all, thank you for organizing this conference. I'm grateful to present my own insights on AI and cybersecurity. So already mentioned, I'm AI researcher at Business and Technology University. But most importantly, I am the person who thinks AI is not a tool, it's a force. So I believe that AI is basically a mirror, representation of ourselves, of humanity, because it's trained on our data. And every output from ChatGPT, for example, it's a representation of humanity. And we can say it another level, it's a mirror of our intent as well. So nowadays, I don't think I need your passwords. I don't think I need your phone to hack. And I only need one picture of you, one photo, 5 seconds of your voice, and basically publicly available posts on your social media. So I can clone your identity. It's not identity theft, what we knew already. It's personality theft itself. And it is so accurate that your own family members would not distinguish from reality. It's already happening nowadays. There is deepfaked jailbreaks, voice proposed whining money in Hong Kong, for example, recently. And there is a lot of synthetic data everywhere. And it's caused a lot of problems in society because there is a lot of destruction, crash of markets because of synthetic data. It's faked. And there would be time that your own memory would be predicted itself. So basically, it's utopian future, but it's already happening. And we can distinguish utopia from reality. Another part, I can say, it's already referenced word. I can reference again. Let's see AI as double-edged sword. It has defensive side and attacking side. With AI, we can defend ourselves. It can analyze vast amount of data, and basically, it would be so accurate that human would never be at the current scale. And AI can, at other point, can create polymorphic malware, that is new generation of malwares, can jailbreak its own rules, its own code, and analyze malware in real time. So basically, it's not hard for AI because everything nowadays is related to data. With data, we create network, and with network, there is knowledge. And we humans are basically data, moving data from our memory. And also to speak on futuristic level, because I'm speaking mostly on future, not currently scale. I can say there is already introduced brain interfaces, there is neural links, and I think in the future, it will be directly hackable human, not like social engineering, what we know now currently. It will be direct to hack humans. And I would say that cybersecurity, it's not technical. It's exponentially most important for ourselves, for our identity itself currently. I can basically propose my recent research, not research, it's based on my research. So a couple of months ago, sorry, I tried to jailbreak ChatGPT. So there is a prompts available online, in the public sources, GitHub, for example. And basically, with this code, everyone uses this jailbreak code. On GitHub, for example, there's marketplaces where you can buy prompts for jailbreaking large language models. But so what my idea was, I jailbreak model, ChatGPT, for example, and asked to create gradient-based reinforcement model, malware model, that would reinforce with each defense. So it's innovative malware, and it's basically improvement, it's enhancement of script kiddies. For example, nowadays, and all cybersecurity experts know that it's not APT or government-sponsored hackers who are dangerous, the most dangerous one, but script kiddies, 15 years, 16 years old kids who can basically find out open source code on GitHub and basically propose some kind of DDoS or other kind of malware. Nowadays, this 15 years old kid can easily create unrealistic malware that was unrealistic a couple of decades, years ago. And it's already happening because I already tried and it works great, I would say. It really works great. So to continue my basically standpoint, I can mention regarding AI privacy itself. We need to basically integrate new models, new ideas on privacy or machine learning. There's a couple of models of machine learning. It's great, yes, but it's not ethically validated because there is no kind of standpoint to basically remove data from trained models. So I think the idea is to basically engage, create some algorithmic moral items, algorithms, that would be integrated to AI models. And if it's speaking about future, we can basically see and say about artificial general intelligence. Nowadays, what we have is narrow intelligence. It's not AI. And I know it's not AI, and a lot of scientists know and agree that it's not AI. What we proposed decades ago. The AI must be some kind of with general intelligence. AGI is the idea of humanity. And if someone basically told us, tell us that AGI will destroy humanity, we will continue to build because it's curiosity basically. Our human society basically outsmarts our curiosity and fear and survival to basically create some innovation. It's how we have so much great innovation inventions in a narrow scale. So at the closing point, I can say one philosophical idea that nowadays we have two homes, two universities, our physical one and the digital one. And everyone would agree that the most time we spend, the more energy and the more resources is digital one. And how we secure our physical homes with locking homes, surveillance cameras, and basically securing our family members. We need to save our digital environment because it's not about securing technology, it's basically defending who we are nowadays because it's a new generation of reality because of AI and because of cybersecurity. Thank you. And I would look forward to your question.
Thank you, Luka. Sofio, please.
Thank you. I am honored to join the Cybersecurity conference and with these brilliant speakers and the moderators. Thank you for inviting me. I will start from a very different topic and I will switch to cybersecurity. I'll be exploring today with you the intersection of artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and neuroscience. I come from the world of AI and big data, where we explore how machine can understand not just numbers and patterns, but emotions. This was our recent research work at Moscow Institute of Computational Mathematics under Europe Horizon Project GAIN. I worked with excellent research groups from different countries. It was on EEG-based emotion recognition. We tried to detect the emotions directly from the brain by using AI models. The motivation behind our research was inconsistencies among the studies using EEG. Well, they used different preprocessing methods, overall artifacts, and classifiers, and the results were hard to compare. And to address this, we have built the standardized EEG-based emotion recognition. We have created already a scientifically robust method for detecting the emotional states like happiness, calmness, and stress level by using these signals, which are in our brain. And the signals are called EEG, electroencephalogram data. And you know how can we record it? By using the lightweight headsets. We are putting it on the skull and it records our electrical activities in the brain. This is quite effective and it is non-invasive method, but it has of course some difficulties. It requires specific preprocessing methods because this is quite noisy data and we need to create the whole architecture, how we classify it and create specific steps for it. And to address all these, we have created the standardized EEG-based framework. And to create the proof of concept, we have applied different data sets available on EEG-based, and we have already open sourced and published it in, it is already available to the pod data, and they can validate it and run it and benchmark it. And you know, best thing about it is that you can use it directly because there were no baselines, there were no standards before, and now you can directly use our framework. Our motivation was simple: to create accurate, scientifically grounded, and comparable framework. Well, why do we talk about this at Cybersecurity Conference? As data engineers and data scientists, we are always trying to create something smart and fancy, but what about the security? When we go beyond the lab and enter the real-world scenarios in medicine, in education, in law, the next crucial step becomes that it must be secure. So imagine that our brainwave data, our signals, they reflect our mental health and well-being, and what if they get leaked or spoofed? These are not like passwords and usernames which can be reset. This is our brain data, EEG patterns. So these are real cybersecurity risks. So to address all these, and if we don't build safeguards like encryption, anonymization, and clear usage of policies, we will fail to deliver to the world the real world impact. And people will not engage it with the system. If people will not engage, it means we will not have data. And we know that data is the most passive and crucial thing in the world. If no data, the entire framework will fail. But you know, we could fail not because that it didn't work, but because we cannot secure it. And we have seen already that there are different privacy concerns and facial recognition and voice assistance, but the brain data, these EEG patterns, are even more sensitive and intimate. And before we mainstream it and use it in real-world scenarios, we have to secure whole pipeline from end to end. We have to secure while we'll record it, encrypt it, and add the storage at the same time. We need to establish the ethical boundaries. We need to apply the privacy by design principles, and it means that we need not just technical design, but cross-disciplinary collaboration of cybersecurity specialists, policymakers, engineers, neuroscience specialists. And to sum up, I will not go through because our research prolonged more than 2 years, and this session will not give me so much time. So to sum up, we all know that we here are that AI is very powerful, and if we don't follow up with AI and emerging technologies, all companies will fail to survive. No future without AI. And emotional AI is promising. But without cybersecurity, without reliable infrastructure, defensive design, we risk turning these tools into vulnerabilities. So as a takeaway, I want to encourage you as cybersecurity specialists, engineers, other professionals, researchers, students, anyone else, to think beyond the algorithms. As you guys were mentioning that, yeah, AI is quite dangerous, so we need to use it as a tool. So we need, while we create our effective design and our frameworks, we need to think beyond the algorithms, okay? And we need to protect the privacy, dignity, and trust of every individual behind the data. Thank you.
Thank you, Sofio. May I have one follow-up question for you?
Sure.
So, like from your own research, like, could you please highlight at least one best practice which you suggest, like for institutions, organizations to adopt when they are working with EEG data?
Yeah, great question. First of all, we started this research because when you enter this field, EEG, emotion recognition, there are quite many studies, but there is no advancement and enhancement of it. And that's why we have gone through all the recent papers of the last 5 years, which were related to EEG emotion recognition, from the PubMed, from the Google Scholars, and all of that. And we have gone through all the abstract papers, citations, whatever, everything. And we have seen inconsistencies, which are how they process data, what are the evaluation metrics, what are the ground truth thresholds, which are the most important to compare and then convert this data to binary representatives. And we have to apply all this when we start and go to this field. And also there were no code at all. There were just very small codes and they were not runnable. And now if you enter this field, you, as a researcher, as an organization, you already have all this baseline. And it's like one line of the code, you run the framework, and everything is available. You can customize your data at the same time. And the organizations, as a best practice, can use it and apply it on the, of course, the cybersecurity on it, so that EEG data will be at the same time trustworthy and secure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With the next question, let's get back to the academic part with Professor Kirby. So this question will be tricky as well, a little bit. Like, how do we prepare professionals and students for cybersecurity future shaped by AI?
Oh, well, it's a very multifaceted question. We can talk about how we educate cybersecurity professionals, like we all have been educating you. We can talk about how we educate other students, the rest of the public, the rest of the world, to deal with AI, to make it safer and more secure, given all these cyber threats. But actually, when Luka was here talking about jailbreaking, I thought of another aspect of education, and it's how we train AI technical people in computer science. So I thought maybe I would use that as an entry point. So let me tell you how I spent my winter vacation. So I got, not this one, I have a nice high-end MacBook Pro laptop with Apple Silicon. I put a couple of Meta's foundation models, Llama models, hundreds of billions of weights, locally on my laptop. I could be unplugged from the internet. It's all here, right? And I use Python, different tools, got models from Hugging Face, Olama, which is a way to do it, and I could mess with that AI, I could poison it, I could fool it at many different levels. I could give it bad prompts and ask it to remember the history. I could actually do fine-tuning and mess with some of its weights. It is all there, and I had a lot of fun. I used, that model was trained by Meta, who owns Facebook, using terawatts of electricity over months of time and tens of hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's in my lap, and I'm messing with it and bending it to my will for good or evil. And I know how to teach students how to do that now. So what kind of world does this create? Well, it requires responses at multiple levels. First, cybersecurity. Of course, the world of cybersecurity has recognized this. In the US, we have NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Training, and NICE, NICE, which used to stand for something, but now is an acronym that actually has AI and cybersecurity sort of specialization standards, which will increasingly be rolled into curricula. The National Security Agency, which NKU has their Cyber Defense Center of Excellence designation, now has a special Cyber AI designation, which NKU is pursuing, and future generations of SANGU NKU students will reap the benefits of that, putting that into their curriculum. And I don't want to address that too deeply because, again, I don't want to pretend to be a cybersecurity expert. But there is also the surrounding world that the cybersecurity community is always dependent on education of ordinary people, whether it's, well, I was going to say years ago, but even now. Pick a good password, know what a phishing attack looks like, and so on. All cybersecurity people have always cared about general, basic instructional advice. And I think now with AI, in a world of deep fakes where trust is at risk, we have to do that more. That means getting AI into high schools and before. That means giving experience with AI, not just, oh, here's how I can use ChatGPT on my homework, but here's when to trust ChatGPT and when not to. Here's what it can do. Here are its limitations and capabilities. It also has to come into university education. First, in a very general way. At NKU, next year, we will have a very basic 100-level AI literacy course, which is no prerequisites, open to anyone on how contemporary AI works, how you can leverage it as a tool, but its global, social, ethical, and legal implications. And then also, and I'm very proud of this model, right now at Northern Kentucky University, we do not, at this moment, have a degree program specifically in AI. Of course, we have computer science, data science, and so on. But we do have a minor in AI. I've known you for so long, I should have asked you if the idea of a major and a minor is a thing in Georgia. But at most US universities, you pick your major, your primary area of study. But you also pick a secondary area, which you study a little lighter. So I did linguistics and math, or my PhD was computer science and then physics, and master's was computer science and neuroscience. So we have a minor in AI, which will touch actually more students. So you can major in business and accounting and minor in AI. You can major in nursing and minor in AI. You can major in philosophy or history or English or elementary education and minor in AI. So I think that actually produces a sort of a more secure world. You have fewer naive people who are young, who are college educated and beyond. And I think this whole system stacks up together. So I think we have a lot of people affiliated with universities in one way or another in the room, and I think this is our mission now.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for such an thoughtful info. And my question to Luka would be, like, you mentioned very interesting fact that you tried to jailbreak one of the AI models. So to think from the other perspective, like, how can we protect AI models from cybersecurity threats?
So great question. First of all, I want to mention from my opening some kind of parts. So the core principle of AI research, it's my offer. So my research starts from cryptography, neural networks, and most recently physics, quantum-informed machine learning. But the core principle of my research is that AI must be the greatest invention of society, of civilization, not the greatest weapon. So it must be the core principle of research into AI field. So about AI models and about AI poisoning itself. So there is a lot of new generation of malwares and viruses based on AI. For example, my idea is about modelware. It's ransomware, but directed to modelware. And instead of basic ransoming files in company, hackers can ransom weights into AI models, because nowadays there is a lot of spending to train AI model. Companies spend billions of dollars, especially nowadays. And there is a lot of new projects, $500 billion in US nowadays. Stargate, a lot of projects to build supercomputers, to build, train AI models itself. So the idea is to basically save model itself, not save other files, because AI became new asset of company, new asset of cyber environment. And I think it's the most risk is into AI, not into files or sensitive data, what we have, because AI itself trained on sensitive data. And there's a lot of tactics. It's not really good tactics, but there is kind of ideas in research directory how to secure models. For example, there is already watermarking. With watermarking, basically, we can save our data, our models, on noise, basically. There's a gradient descent modeling phases where there is a different mathematical equations applied to AI models to basically save AI models. For example, I have some kind of ideas how to engage and how to create secure AI models itself. We must have AI audits. AI audits, it's idea where there would be people who basically identifies outputs of AI and find out its logs to improve AI itself. Second, it's must to have red teaming AI researchers who basically analyze AI models, AI adversaries itself, and make some kind of outputs. And based on these outputs, they can improve this AI model's core principles. And final, it's, as the professor mentioned, it's education. It's the must to educate young students and innovators into AI field. But the most currently, I think, one of the biggest things is critical thinking, because the recent studies said that people who use ChatGPT had the lower metric of critical thinking than people who don't use ChatGPT. Yes, it's said everyone using ChatGPT, but it's true. We must create another subject of critical thinking and another subject of AI ethics, because ethics is one of the biggest engine of future AI and secure AI. Because without secure AI, because giving AI some kind of our own values, morals, to secure or don't distribute our personal identifiable information, it would be destructive to basically engage into future development of artificial intelligence. So, that's all.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to our distinguished speakers. We are actually running out of time, but maybe we'll have time just one or two questions. Sure.
Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, I would like to ask Professor Mr. Kevin. I'm interested about experience of Northern Kentucky University using medical data. Is it possible to use public hospitals, patients' data, and how can you make sure to ensure safety of sensitive data? And one more question I would like to ask Ms. Sofio. Why do we need recognition of emotions using data? And what is key challenge of using electroencephalography data? Thank you.
Well, my answer could be very short before I turn it over to my colleague here. Is it possible to get access to medical data in the US for training AI? A short answer is no. On the other hand, there are ways to, in the front row here, Dr. Marius Truda, you met an hour ago, is an expert in data privacy and anonymization and actually knows how to perhaps process that data. There are vast sets of data out there that one can train on that are ultimately derived from medical data. We have a health informatics program, and we have a large hospital network. Some of you might have visited their IT, St. Elizabeth IT, when you were in town. And we actually have had faculty members work with some subsets of that data appropriately anonymized. Not extensively and not recently. But in general, there's no straightforward way to access that data set. Like, for example, by contrast, we live in the city of Cincinnati. There's very great resources for getting data on public services, water, electricity, population, demographics, and so on. Wonderful data sets, real time, beautiful. But healthcare, as you can imagine, is another story.
Yeah, a very interesting question. Yeah, on the first part, I would also, I would agree, of course, with Professor, because I already did the PhD related to medical records and how enhance the health by using the AI big data. That's quite interesting topic. And now related to EEG, why we need this data. Imagine that if we want to get a real emotion, it's not the exact emotion or real response from the witness, from the patient, and you want to analyze it, you go to hospital, and it can detect your mental health and early states of depression and it's already proven by research. And of course, it's still going research. It's not published in the real world scenarios. It can enhance your concentration, your educational, and it can be used on real-time basis. And by witnessing also, you know that when someone is answering, you already know its emotional state, it's true or false. It will help in many directions, not in medicine, not education, but it can be used. Because this data is not masked, because videos and face can be masked due to cultural differences, right? But the data directly from the brain, it's not masked, but we need the data for it, and we need specific methods for it. And you mentioned about difficulties. Yeah, our research was about that what are the difficulties, why this direction is not developing. And we have already, actually our research already published, we have in transactional affecting computing, abstract paper, and our framework is already open sourced. And if someone is interested, I can give you more details offline. Thank you.